for Google book search, they've invented a thing that just turns pages of books so they could scan them all in a scalable way. But so in the case of the CDs, we thought, oh, we're this startup and we have a limited amount of funds and we need this much for marketing and this much for hiring and so on.
Right.
And so we thought, it turns out the number of CDs that we needed, this is the number of total CDs available in the UK market, is 100,000 CDs. So if we had bought that, let's call it at the time $10 a CD, right? That's $1 million, and that's a lot when you're a startup and you only have a certain amount of funding. So the creative part of our persistence is that we went to the company that was the biggest distributor of CDs at the time. So it actually had about 4 or 5 times as many CDs as the biggest record stores, which had about 15,000 unique CDs in stock at a time. This company had 100,000 CDs, and we said, wouldn't you love to have a digital copy of all those CDs? Because the world is becoming digital, right? This is 2000.
Wow, smart.
And then, so we literally formed a partnership where we co-located at their warehouse outside of London, had our 25 to 30 18-year-olds located at their site, going into the warehouse, picking a CD from those racks, pulling it out, putting it in the computer, typing them in the songs, and then returning it. And they didn't charge us a penny for that relationship.
Wow.
Because we shared the outcome with them.
What I love is that some people just persist asking for something, but you feel like a good way to add value. And when you add value with that kind of creativity, that's brilliant. I'm so glad you asked the question, Barbara. Give her a hand. Thank you very much.
Oh, Tony.
Oh, wait a second. Yes, hi.
My name is Hannah, and because we're talking about music and I have the chance to speak to you. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm literally shivering. The thing is, I want to do the same as you do. I want to lead people to new perspectives and kind of lead them to their deep feelings and change their life.
Yes.
And for me, because music is so deep in me because of my dad and everything, that those icons and the interviews that change my life, and I want to be that person. And it's the thing is, in America there are so many open-minded people, and we live in Austria, and like the German culture and Austrian culture is kind of conservative, and I'm just pissed because there aren't I don't know many artists that talk so open-minded about it, and I want to be that. And my question is, I still have some fear talking about it, and it's kind of such a big project. I need to develop the skills, because I still think I need the singing skills, the songwriting and everything. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that with you.
Well, I can see that you have I can see you have the passion, definitely have the passion.
That's right.
And that's the most important aspect, because remember with the contact lens thing, if you wake up in the morning, you're like, I just can't see myself selling contact lenses on the web. That's hard. I can see that you have the passion to be a musician and to get involved in the musician industry. So that's the most important thing. I would say go for it. Go for it. The key is to navigate your way into the music industry and find the people that are already there and already experts, and network with them and ask them all the questions you can think of.
One of the most successful business people I ever met when I was very young was a multi-billionaire, and I asked him, how he became a multi-billionaire, and he said to me, and I shared it earlier in this week, so I don't know if you heard it, but he said, proximity is power. If you look at somebody like Bill Gates, Bill Gates quit Harvard, and he didn't have any software for this company called Microsoft, or the original company he went to, Altera. And yet he told them, I'm going to go do this. But the real secret, besides being very bright and persistent, was he had direct relationships at IBM through his parents. They're on the board of directors. And as you connected with Apple and started to build a relationship, then you had proximity for someone to do it. So my advice to you is, number one, stop caring about how conservative or unconservative is. There's some of the greatest different radical types of music has come out of Germany and Austria in the past. Hard metal, crazy stuff. So while there is a conservative culture, there's a segment that is extremely creative that comes up with things no one else does in your culture. And so instead of finding the limitations, find the strengths, or decide what every great leader does, create your own culture. right? That's what a leader does. They don't adapt to the culture. I'm sure you've heard the old phrase that says, reasonable people adapt to the culture, unreasonable people adapt the culture to themselves. That's why all breakthroughs come from unreasonable people. I'm paraphrasing, that's not the right language, but that's the essence of it. And so it's like you have to then find within yourself that I have so much passion, so much certainty. I'm going to build that certainty. And instead of getting overwhelmed by all the things you got to do, you're going to say, let me just make sure every day I'm making progress. Every day I'm going to take a step forward, and I'm going to consistently get in proximity with brilliant people that are doing things in the direction of what I want to do. And if I have to work as a janitor, which is what I did in the beginning, day and night while I was still in school, to get around people, I would be a janitor at this place where I want to be around this executive. And quite honestly, I'd read all his memos and things in the middle of the night so I could think about how he thought, because I didn't have access like I have today. So get yourself in proximity with people who are making things happen. And if you do a great job at anything you do for them, when you work your guts out, you will become appreciated. As you're appreciated, you become part of their culture. As you come to that culture, you'll get new insights, and then opportunities will happen. And this person, by the way, told me at one point, he said, what do you want to accomplish? And I gave him some of my dreams and goals, and he said, well, those are big. He said, how many, private equity guys do you know? How many people, investment bankers do you know? And I said, no, I don't know, maybe a dozen. He goes, how many you spend time with? I said, none. He said, I want you to go and spend time with them. I said, but you have something to give. I always have to give something. It's just my way I'm wired, right? I don't know what I really want yet or how to do it, because it doesn't matter. They're going to want to be around you. Get around them. And I did this for months. And then suddenly one day, sure enough, he said, they're going to want to do a deal with you. And then somebody brought me this deal. And the deal at the time, made me about $40 million in 2 months when I'd never made $4 million in a year working 20-hour days. And then that deal fell apart afterwards. They wanted me to change the deal. And I learned from him, when somebody wants to change the deal, don't get pissed, think about what you want. And I put that in a new deal where I made $400 million 2 years later. So proximity is power. Put yourself in proximity, keep your passion alive, keep making progress, and make sure you're trying to innovate or grow every day in some way. Face your fears every single day. You'll find it'll change your life. Give her a hand. Let's have a hand for Chris, first of all. Everybody, it's a big hand for Chris. I'm not sending you away. I want you to stay here, but I'm going to have you go 2 chairs over.
Thanks so much.
Let him hear you. It's Chris. No, let him hear you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes. So you hear from Chris, this highly technical business and trying to solve technical solutions.